Consumer Team back on KRLD every weekend, the consumer truth for Dallas and Fort Worth. Find us on the web at myconsumerteam.com. You can communicate with me. My email is pete@myconsumerteam.com. That's pete@myconsumerteam.com. Justin Crane from the Crane and Woolley Estate Planning Law Firm joining us tonight on the Consumer Team. And we're going to talk with Justin about not doing bad things to the people we love. And that's what happens when we die without an estate plan, without a will, without a trust, which is very important. Justin, you and I are both critical of the quickie template online legal services that, you pay a subscription every month and they're there. You just plug in some information and voila, there's your will. You print it out. It's in the safety deposit box and you check it off the list. Only problem is the will is not right. There are problems with it, and we need to talk about those problems. Welcome to the Consumer Team. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll say this: you're going to get something, but
you get what you pay for.
You do not know what's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of a case right now. I think that the husband, one, thought he was getting his affairs in order, right? Hey, I got a legal document. I think in part he thought that he was also being a little bit funny. And, humor's good. He even knew that he was coming towards end of life. So he knew it was coming and he needed this. But the problem was after he passed away, his surviving spouse, she got to find out what that document actually did. She got to find out what he actually had. And there were things in there, the way that gifts were written, the types of things that he was trying to gift. Some of them we could. So
he was trying to leave a little entertainment, maybe,
I think so.
In his, show his sense of humor, but he ended up opening up a can of worms.
He did. And look, if he had any actual legal advice, somebody could have helped him to still even have his personality in the documents if that's what he wanted, but they would have prevented him from causing all kinds of problems.
And this was with an online legal Eagle, whatever the website is.
This isn't like a one-time story. I mean, pretty much everybody I've ever worked with.
This happens over and over. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this one happens to have more of the things in it, but it became so difficult in trying to notify all the individual people of the items they were supposed to get, and so difficult figuring out the value of items that we couldn't find that he had named, and so difficult that we were just trying to execute all the wishes and notify everybody, that when you combine that with creditors that were popping up, we got all the way to the end of the case. And what ended the case, I mean, we did help her get access to some of the things. I mean, she was eventually able to get a little bit of money from selling the house, which she had to do to pay for things. But there ended up being one final bank account that by the time we got to that part in the case, it would have been more expensive to continue through the legal process to get her access to the bank account than for her to get the few thousand extra dollars out. And she just left it because it just would have been more expensive.
That's tragic.
Costly. It is.
How much of an estate was wasted, or just
most of it?
Like, was it 100,000, 200,000? What do you think?
Yeah, I would say it was actually, you're right on. It was right in that range. This wasn't an extremely wealthy person, but that amount of money is significant. And
it sounds like that's about all they had, besides with the exception of the home,
which she ended up having to sell actually in the process to pay for things. Moved into an apartment, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it was very difficult because we reached the point in the case where we were as much trying to be an emotional counselor because of how hard this was, and we didn't have any other solutions. Right, this was her reality.
And some of these online deals, you can buy like the premium service. that costs even more, and you still don't get the full document you need. In fact, I don't think any of these online legal services can produce a trust for you, can they?
I think some will do. Again, you'll get something.
Your results may vary.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, we have somebody right now who did decide to go do some things online, and called us because I don't know if they heard us on maybe this show or heard from a friend, but we just asked a couple questions. Well, in your process, did they talk to you about how to make sure there's not going to be a bond requirement? Did you make sure that use this particular language that would make it very easy for you? And she said, no, I don't even know what you're talking about. And she had paid for the premium part that was supposed to give her access to an attorney. And what we found out is that all that she was able to do was when she had questions about the questions, that's confusing, that the form was asking her, that was the time that she got to use with the attorney. Hey, what does this question mean?
Oh
in the
my
form
goodness,
I'm filling
that
out?
was your premium content
so
right
it
there.
was still no proactive education where an attorney was saying, hey, Jane or whatever this person's name is, have you thought about this? Tell me about that. There was no real guidance from an attorney, even though there was a licensed attorney on the other end.
At Crane and Woolley, I know that you are doing things differently. In the legal world, you're doing some things that I think are just terrific in terms of consumer satisfaction. Maybe in the moment we have left before the break, talk about that Crane and Woolley difference. When somebody hires you to do their estate plan, it's a different experience, and it's a good different.
It is. The story that we just talked about was somebody who was getting perhaps a legal document, but you need much, much more than that for this to be effective. I mean, think about what an estate plan is. It's everything that you've done your entire life. All the people you love, all the things you care about, every asset that you've ever had, every penny that you have left. And you really want to make sure you're not just leaving that to a document that you have no idea what it's doing, no guidance whatsoever. And when you work with Crane & Woolley, you're getting attorneys that are experienced. This is all we do. We've seen, hundreds or thousands of people so that we can help you to plan for all those scenarios.
Well, Justin, I love what you guys are doing, and the service you give our listeners, just outstanding. Crane & Woolley, estate planning law firm, right now giving Consumer Team listeners a 25% discount on proactive planning services. 25%. That's a huge discount, and it's available for a very limited time. So if you've used one of those online quickie template website programs, buyer beware, there will be problems with that document. Your results may vary. Crane & Woolley, this is the team to call. Here's the phone number. Don't forget to mention Consumer Team to get the discount. Also, free initial consultation when you call, and just mention you are a Consumer Team listener. 972-560-6288. One more time, 972-560-6288. cranewoolley.law. That's cranewoolley.law. Coming up on the Consumer Team, how to get the